Hi, I'm John Veman. This week on Anyplace Wild, we hike around a mountain that literally blew its top, Mount Saint Helens. Into the Dust Bowl. Is it always this windy up in here? Oh no. In these days, there's more beauty here than you would think. So come along as we walk through a wasteland that's bouncing back fast after the big blast.
Anyplace Wild is brought to you in part by Chevy Tahoe, encouraging you to find your own little part of the planet. Destination Outdoors, makers of outdoor health and safety products, allowing you to experience the full enjoyment of your outdoor destination. And LL Bean, wherever your next adventure may take you, LL Bean can help you get there with a full selection of outdoor gear and apparel.
Mount Saint Helens is just one of several volcanoes in the Cascade Range, which extends from Lassen Peak in California to Mount Garibaldi in southern British Columbia. By geologic standards, the range is very young and still actively growing, sometimes in seismic proportions, as our guest found out the hard way. So you were here when it hit?
Yes, it was my first day with my new job with the Forest Service when, sitting on this ridge right over there, Mount Saint Helens exploded right in front of me.
It wasn't the friendliest of introductions to a new job, but Francisco Valenzuela at least can say he lived to talk about it. Others around him weren't so lucky. As one of the survivors of the blast, he's hyper-aware of the mountain, its moods, its subtle changes, and its special value for scientific research. Still, for him, there's no shaking the images of that cataclysmic event. On May 18, 1980, a lateral blast produced a 650-degree rock and ash-laden fire wind.
The flow down the mountainside looks like a 50-foot high wall. From this monitoring station, I can see rock and ash are spreading out the side of the mountain. There's an enormous cloud rising over mountain. Radiating out from the explosion site, sweeping away everything. The whole forest of 100-foot trees are being knocked flat. Foliage pushed around like marbles. I've never seen anything like it in my life. Reports of some park people and some visitors have been engulfed by the blast.
No one had expected anything like this. Volcanoes usually erupt up and out, not sideways. In a matter of seconds, 1,300 vertical feet of mountain flew horizontally over 15 miles of hillside and valley floor. It was the largest landslide in recorded history.
I'm just totally terrified. I think, this is it. We're gonna die, this is it.
So you guys were going like 60 miles an hour right into the face of this thing.
Yeah, we had to drive straight into the volcano because that's the only way to get out on that logging road. So this big dark cloud is coming toward us at about 600 miles an hour. We're driving as fast as we can. I'm looking up at it. I could not comprehend what was going on. I'd never seen anything like this before. It was so incredible to see. I mean, here's this mountain and this column and just going straight up. So we drove closer, and as we were driving closer to this little pass, we could see lightning bolts striking. We could watch lightning bolts hitting trees and then blowing up into flame. All of a sudden you can feel this volcanic vent. The volcanic gas is coming through the vents. And my eyes are starting to water, my throat is starting to burn. I was totally terrified, and all of a sudden it kind of passed. I mean, not the cloud, but I didn't feel terrified anymore. I kind of all of a sudden couldn't comprehend anything. I just kind of looked at it. And I kind of realized this is an incredible thing. This is, truly awesome.
A lot of mud has washed under the bridge since then, and this will be Francesco's first trip back into the area, now officially designated a National Volcanic Monument. We'll start our hike on the Lava Canyon Trail, then hook up to the Lewitt Trail, which will circle around into the blast zone. It's easy to see how Lava Canyon got its name. These lumpy, polished rocks once oozed down the mountainside from an ancient eruption.
You know, Mount Saint Helens, like a lot of the other Cascade volcanoes and volcanoes around the Ring of Fire, had all kinds of different eruptions over time that built them. See that lava flow there?
Yeah, it's real obvious.
That lava flow happened about 3,500 years ago and filled up this canyon. Totally filled it up. And then, over time, the river here has carved around them. So now we have these pillars sticking up. But you know, before 1980, we couldn't see this. It was gone.
What do you mean? The lava was here, right?
Well, the lava was here, but there was such a dense forest that nobody knew that stuff existed.
Oh. So when the eruption happened, what did it do? Just scrape all this clean? And
when the mud flows came through here, just scoured this thing clean, opened up this great view.
So all this whole canyon, all the way up here, you can now see it, but 1979, it was completely covered over.
Yep.
What cleared the trees from Lava Canyon was called a lahar, essentially a very fast-flowing, massive mud flow, pushing away everything in its path. It's funny how lahar is interchanged freely with the word mud flow, but you don't see a whole lot of mud in a lahar, do you?
Mount Saint Helens, you know, we have a chunky lahar. I mean, it's not... Where lahar comes from Indonesia, where it's mostly water mixed with volcanic ash. But here, it mixes so much rock, it's almost like a debris flow. You can see, like on this stump right here, from this side, how scraped up it is.
Look at this, you got little rocks and stuff.
Look at this rock right here, how it's shoved right into there. Look over there, that ridge there. The mud flow went right over the top of that ridge and just scraped the land of all plants and animals, vegetation.
It was that high? What was that, 100 feet up?
Oh, yeah. And it just roared down the Muddy River Gorge or Lava Canyon and exposed all those basalt pillars.
Oh, it's nice to cool off here in this shady part, huh?
Yeah, this lush vegetation here because of all the water coming down. It's a nice relief from the sun.
Oh, watch it. There's some Devil's Club.
Yes.
That's some thorny stuff, huh?
Sure is.
Look at the size of some of these trees in here. Oh, this is some real old growth, huh?
Yeah, this is a beautiful old growth forest. You know, you can see basic characteristic of old growth here. I mean, huge old trees, over 100 years old.
That one might be even a couple hundred years, huh?
Oh, yeah. These openings like this, sunlight coming through, little baby trees, a lot of down wood. I like the quiet here.
It's sort of funny how they don't have that many branches on these big old trees, you know? So they get all their nutrients right through the bark, pretty much?
No.
From moisture in the air, or what?
No, they get all their nutrients from up high, but there's no reason to have too many branches down low where it's so shady.
Oh. Well, I like the color of this lake.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's always been this color. It's all that fine tephra ground up in it.
And tephra is the silt from the ash?
Right. It's the fine ash. And even though I've been gone so long from so many changes, it's nice to come back and see something like this, you know, this peaceful, beautiful stand of old growth trees.
Well, there it is. Look, you can almost see the... Does that look like that's the blast zone right over there?
Right, that's the edge. And that rounded corner, that's one of the old domes.
Oh, that's where it was pushing up?
No, that's another old dome, probably a few hundred years old.
Oh. Think it'll ever explode that way?
Yeah. So.
All the pressure's off? Well, it's really opening up here.
Starting to get some views.
Yeah, well, I know why. Look at this. This must be the edge of the blast zone, huh?
Yeah. This is the very fringe of the blast zone.
Look at all those trees just toppled over like matchsticks, huh?
Yeah, but they have a pattern. Look how they're raked that way. You can see how the wind kind of raked them up over the hills.
Yeah. The blast from the eruption flattened 230 square miles of timber on one side of the mountain. Loggers estimated they harvested 771 million board feet of lumber from the blast zone. That's enough to build 77,000 three-bedroom homes.
Now you can see that those trees and plants are growing there and make great elk habitat. Probably see a lot of elk down here someday, just like we do on the other side of this ridge.
And then that whole plain down there, that little valley or canyon, was just filled up with all the ash and stuff.
Mm-hmm. That's a South Fork the Toutle there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Tomorrow we got to hike down in there and cross that. There's no real trail across the creek, though, so I don't know what's going to happen.
We're going to get wet. That's how we're going to get across it.
Well, I thought you'd carry me, John.
No way. Not as swimming. We decide to camp along the Toutle River because it's right on the edge of the restricted research area. Camping is not allowed in the research area, and it can take a full day to cross it. What's unique about Mount Saint Helens is that volcanologists were able to record events long before, and now long after, the eruption. The research is proving invaluable in our understanding of volcanoes, of course, but also in the bigger picture of how nature responds to its own disturbances. Already, the signs of recovery are everywhere, once again demonstrating life's regenerative power. Dawn brings with it a hot, dusty wind, spitting ash into every place imaginable. The conditions spook Francesco, reminding him of a fateful day not that long ago. So weren't you around here, weren't you parked somewhere around here the day of the blast?
Yeah, we stopped and looked at the photographers. They were parked down there where that little dust storm is over there. There was a family in a pickup truck, and there was a photographer in a station wagon. They had their tripods out, and they had their cameras set up, and they were hoping to capture that picture of Mount Saint Helens erupting. They were not in the red zone, the closed area around Mount Saint Helens. They were actually in...
They were in where they were supposed to be safe?
Yeah, supposedly. And I just sat down to eat my orange on a big stump when Mount Saint Helens erupted. What happened is the blast occurred. This big pyroclastic cloud came down in the blast and engulfed the family. The photographer jumped in his car right before it hit him and tried to drive out of it, but he couldn't make it either. We jumped in our car and we took off. I could see the cloud coming, and I got terrified.
Yeah.
For a little bit there, I was totally terrified because the cloud was zooming in. It was huger than anything I've ever seen in my life. It looked solid. It didn't look like a cloud. It looked like a solid wall, a gray wall just coming towards us. And then all of a sudden, about a quarter mile from us, the cloud just stopped moving. You could hear explosions all day long, big rumbling explosions.
Yeah.
And that ash cloud kept pumping up. But the prevailing wind started blowing it that way, and it blew ash toward Yakima, which is in the eastern side of the state.
Yep.
It blew up toward Banff, Canada. You know, the ash actually finally went all the way around the world in a few weeks.
The intense heat from the volcanic eruption melted glaciers that surrounded the snowy summit. Torrents of meltwater overwhelmed the tiny Toutle River. Eventually, it carved its way through the thick layers of rock and ash that tried to smother its old riverbed. About packed up?
Just about. I have a real lumpy pack today with my tripod in there.
Yeah. We got a pretty good distance to go today, right?
Yeah, we do. We gotta go.
Get all the way across the blast zone?
We gotta go right through that big cloud of ash.
I didn't bring a mask with me. We head feet first into the research or blast zone. On this side of the mountain, you experience the full magnitude of what took place here. This is not the place it once was. A force more powerful than 27,000 atomic bombs has laid waste to 60,000 acres of earth. Whole sides of mountains were pulverized into small chunks and blown thousands of feet into the air. A flume of ash and smoke rose so high and was so thick, the earth here went dark for days. The ground we're walking on has only been beneath hikers' feet for a scant 20 years. Even the Toutle River still struggles to find a new course through the debris. It's raw, uncut, still settling. Just hiking along, Francesco and I choke on the grains of the earth so new.
Into the Dust Bowl. Boy, this is one dusty place.
Oh yeah, this wind is pretty intense. Uh-oh, watch out. Whoa. Oh no. I'm amazed this trail is staying here even.
Is it always this windy up in here?
No, it's not always this windy. And there's a lot of pepper being blown about on those ridges. I think I can taste half of it.
What's that?
I think I can taste half that pepper up there blowing around.
Oh. The wind sure isn't dying down any.
No, it isn't. Over here's one of my photo points.
What are you trying to do? Match the same position, same angle and everything?
I'm gonna try to match it exactly the same. I'll show you how we'll do it.
Look at all these trees, man, man. Some of them aren't even out of the ground. They just got completely just pushed right to the floor.
You can see how they were sandblasted. They're kind of smooth and shiny. Okay. Over. Got it.
Francesco and other researchers take photographs from marked locations around the blast zone that allow them to visually monitor the stages of regrowth since the eruption. While Mount Saint Helens has erupted many times before, this is the first time that scientists have truly had a chance to study the violent forces in the reestablishment of life afterward.
Wait. Look at the elk.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that beautiful bull elk.
He's right in the middle, isn't he?
That must be his harem. You got your binoculars?
Yeah, I already checked it out. You want to use them?
Yeah.
Here.
How many think there is?
Why, I don't know. I'd guess, what, 20?
Actually, there's several of them have antlers. They're looking right at us.
Think what they're saying about us. Look at those funny humps on their back. They don't look like elk at all.
I think they know that you can't hunt here, so they're probably feeling pretty safe.
Yeah.
Thanks.
The healthy elk herds on these slopes are testament to the successful recovery and regrowth of a seeming wasteland. Elk need good grasses to survive, and the nitrogen-rich volcanic ash is a good complement to the soil. As rainfall eroded the heavy layers of ash from the underlayer of earth, many of the nutrients leached into the soil. Spores came in on the wind and mosses took root in the soil. The mosses created a stable layer that enabled grasses and wildflowers like fireweed to take hold. Then came shrubs and bushes. Next in line will be fast-growing trees, alder and aspen most probably. And finally, in a few hundred years, there likely will be a dense old-growth forest, just like the one we came through on the south side of the mountain. Earlier in the week, the U.S. Geological Survey study team gave me a rare tour of the lava dome. The dome sits over 2,000 feet above the trail we're on, capping the magma chimney that blew the mountain apart in 1980. It's still very active, with fumaroles or vents pushing sulfur gas to the surface. And if you look closely through the cracks, you'll see the blood of Earth itself, orange-red magma roiling just beneath the surface. If and when it erupts again, this will be ground zero, which is why even trained researchers never go up here without a two-way radio crackling in their ears.
We're responsible for keeping an eye on volcanoes in the U.S. and trying to reduce losses to life and property. And there are a lot of active volcanoes in the U.S. We've got a dozen in the Cascades. We've got more than 50 in Alaska.
Yeah, and there's some major metropolitan areas around here, isn't there?
There are tens of thousands of people living close enough to Cascade volcanoes to be threatened by future eruptions. We don't know when the next one's coming, and we don't know where, so we've got to keep constant watch, and that's what we're doing.
Look at this. Now this is lighter. It's crumbly. It's all been like puffed up as though somebody shot air into it.
Yeah, it was gases out of the magma that got shot into it. It's very, very fresh, very crumbly. It's only a little over 10 years old. This rock is younger than my son.
Oh.
My son's a senior in high school. This rock came out here probably in certainly between 1980 and 86, more likely 1984, 85. So it's a little over 10 years old.
There's a whole different strata of rock up there. Some of it's real coarse, some of it's real smooth, and some of it actually looks like just a sheer wall. What is that telling you as a geologist?
Well, we're standing on a 1,000-foot high pile of rubble, if you will. The lava dome that grew in here from 1980 to 86, it's about 1,000 feet high above the crater floor. And right now it's a big jumble. And the rock we're looking at there is rock that's fallen apart, it's been fractured, and it shows us the inside of one of the flows that make up the lava dome.
So the magma just kind of came up in a big tube or something?
It oozed up a lot like toothpaste out of a tube. Broke its way through the dome, made lots of earthquakes, shoved the sides of the dome apart, and eventually flowed out onto the surface.
So this whole dome is just going to keep growing and growing, and the whole mountain's going to keep growing, right? What's it?
Well, first of all, St. Helens is 40,000 years old, so it's been erupting for 40,000 years. It's probably going to keep doing it. The chances that it'll quit during our lifetime are not good. So it's going to keep erupting. Whether this dome will continue to grow is an open question. It hasn't grown since 1986. It may have stopped. The next eruption could be explosive. It might blow away the dome. Whether that's going to take 100 years or hundreds of years or a few thousand years is hard to say.
So amazing here. You know, St. Helens is so amazing to me because it challenges my whole ideas of about what is beautiful. It's a kind of beauty that's beyond normal beauty. It's sublime. It's beyond, I think, our understanding.
Well, it's beyond certainly the common definition of what beauty is, that's for sure.
When I walk here, I feel like a question mark because I look around and I wonder about so many things. Why things are here, what's going to happen in the future.
There's an expression that says beauty is difficult to weigh and mystery is impossible to measure. Is it any wonder that we have thoughts like these in an otherworldly place such as this? Certainly my preconceived notion about what is beautiful, or even what is nature, has been dramatically changed. Raw force greater than anything humankind has yet conceived was unleashed here. Yet even more powerful forces now are quietly at work, regenerating this scorched earth. Truly, this is a beautiful thing to behold.
To learn more about Anyplace Wild and the Great Outdoors, check out PBS online at www.pbs.org.